At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Are your ulcerative colitis symptoms proving difficult to manage? Tremfya guselkumab can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. At 1 year, many patients taking Tremfya achieved clinical remission, and some patients also achieved endoscopic remission. Individual results may vary. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor if Tremfya can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
This episode is brought to you by Prime Video. In the small town of Holland, Michigan, nothing is ever what it seems. Behind the tulip festivals and pretty houses lay dark secrets that threaten to tear a marriage apart. Nicole Kidman stars in this darkly twisted thriller about a wife and mother whose quest to uncover her husband's secrets may get her more than she bargained for. Holland, streaming on Prime Video March 27th.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV Insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV Insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injuries and additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
Revolutionize your cooking with the Tefal Infrared Air Fryer. Watch as your food crisps up through a large lighted window and delight in faster, crispier, and juicier results with no preheating thanks to Tefal's advanced infrared technology. Discover the future of cooking and bring innovation into your kitchen by visiting Tefal.com.
Hey, Chicago. What do you say? Cubs gonna win today.
Okay, before we get started, I want to... when Dave and I recorded this, we hadn't yet heard that Matt Shaw was going to officially get put into, I would guess, baggage claim and put on the plane to Japan. So there's a lot of speculation about whether the Cubs would actually do that and why they'd be so dumb if they didn't. So you're going to hear that and be like, Jesus, do these morons not read? We knew this hours ago. So that's why. And I guess there's still some, conversation about, well, just because he goes, does that mean he's going to make the debut? I mean, clearly he's going to be the opening day third baseman now, because do we really think the Ricketts would fly him all the way to Japan? Maybe he's, maybe just could put him to work. I don't know, hauling bags or something. But I would guess if they spent the money to fly him there, he's probably going to play. So anyways, when we get to that part, which is relatively early on, that's why it seems like we don't know this very obvious thing. It's because we didn't know yet. So, all right, enjoy. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise podcast. We're going to talk baseball with National Baseball expert David Brown. Dave, how are you?
Just it struck me funny, that's all. I'm doing great, Andy. On the way to spring training. Not at the second, but figuratively.
You're not on a plane or a train?
No,
Could you take in a train from Kansas City to Phoenix? I bet you could.
I could, and
You
I
could
might
pretend
even
like
get
it's
there.
old. You could pretend like it's old time baseball.
Get a fedora. Yeah, that's how they used to do it. They used to pay for the riders to go on their planes and their trains. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Those days are over.
We took the train from, where did we go from? Baltimore to DC, I think. Just my wife thought it'd be fun, so we were going to DC. We flew to Baltimore and then we took the train. That's not that long a trip. It was long enough. That was good enough.
Yeah.
That was my train experience. I could check that box. Say, all right, are we do it? And we had to do it going back. So I was like, we already did this once. She's like, tough. Get in the
I
train.
have
Tammy.
done
Shut
Kansas City to St. Louis and maybe even to Chicago once. I don't remember.
When I was working in Michigan, our president and a couple of the other mucky mucks got to go to China because they were trying to work out an agreement with a college there.
Yeah.
And they got to take the high-speed train, and he was very impressed with that. He was a convert. He wanted, when he joined the Communist Party in America, to try to get the train. And I said, I don't think this is the right. I don't think you needed to do that. He's like, oh well, whatever. Walk around with his little red book.
I really want to.
It's like the magnet train thing where it just kind of you get in it and then it as they get ready to go, it like raises up,
right,
and then it goes 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it feels like you're going 12 miles an hour, except the trees are whipping by at a ridiculous rate. Yeah, he really wanted one. I don't know what he wanted to connect. Traverse City to Petoskey. Maybe you could probably make it on a high-speed train in about 6 minutes. It'd be fun. But whatever.
Did Leonard Nimoy beam in and out?
What camps are you going to hit in Arizona?
What are you, my editor? No, actually, I know for a fact we'll start with the Rangers. And then I don't know yet. Because full transparency. The first reason I'm going is for my fantasy draft. We're getting together, our Yahoo Fantasy League, and we're going to draft on Saturday. So I'm using the opportunity to go a couple days early and hit some camps. Yeah. Now, the Cubs and the Dodgers I would normally hit, but they are leaving tonight or today for Japan, so they're not going to be there. So I don't know.
You were.
I'm going. I'm looking at the teams, and I'm underwhelmed. Yeah. Why am I doing this? But sometimes I stare at it's like when you stare at something long enough, it doesn't make any sense anymore. You know,
like the sun.
No, like a word. Like
oh, okay, good.
It's just I don't know. Maybe I like this guy. The Brewers have a Cuban first baseman.
It's not Jose Abreu, is it?
It's not Jose Abreu.
Thank God.
But so things like that. Texas Rangers, maybe the Padres, the White Sox, I guess. I don't know. Probably not. But I really want to.
The White Sox, you're not. See, there's not a major league team you could go see instead of the White Sox.
Yeah, I mean that's how I kind of feel too. So,
well, you got to hit the Padres because I mean you can't go all the way to Arizona and not hang out with the exciting Mike Schilt. Got to get some quality time in.
He happens, I'll tell you.
Hysterical storyteller, Mike Schilt. Not that the stories are funny. He's literally in hysterics when he tells them. That's the best part. Well, when you told me your timing, I assumed you were going just to avoid the Cubs. It's like, oh, the Cubs are going to be out of the country. Perfect time to go to Arizona.
No, I was technically disappointed that my timing wasn't good enough. So
yeah,
I wasn't. There's people I know covering the team, and I don't know if there's anybody working for the Cubs anymore that I know very well from back in the day, but those people have all been replaced, kicked upstairs to the curb. Maybe a Jesse Rogers, but.
Well, yeah, but Jesse, you'll probably see him. Well, no, he's probably gone off to Tokyo, right? Mr. Big Shot ESPN.
What about Bruce Levine? Do you think he's going to go to Tokyo?
Oh, it'd be tough to get Bruce through customs, I would think. I'm sure he's going to be there.
That metal detector is just not going to stop. He's more machine than man now.
The Cubs have big roster decision to make today, whether or not they take Matt Shaw to Japan or not.
Don't. He hasn't played. Right?
He's got 14 at bats.
Oh, well, he's played a little.
Yeah, and I think you are now. It's Patrick Mooney basically said today that I think you and Jed are of the same mind, which is it would probably be better for him to hang out and get at bats every day, and then join them for Game 3 when they play the. It's very confusing because the Cubs open the season in Arizona against the North American portion of their season in Arizona. So they're not going anywhere. They're not going north. They're not even going. They're not even going west. They're just staying to open the season.
It's maybe a little west and north. I'm trying to think of my mental
from Mesa
map
to Phoenix. Pahonix? Was that the commercial where the kid? I loved his. Was it the car rental thing? And he's like, something. I need to rent a car to go to Pahonix. And they're like, it's Phoenix. He goes, yeah, Phoenix. He said Phoenix like it was the dumbest pronunciation of a word ever. Like, yeah, anybody's gonna believe that. Yeah, Phoenix.
Is Mesa, would that be like the Merrillville of the Phoenix Metro?
Probably. The Ho-Ho-Cams. I wonder, do they have to run two places now? Because the A's are in the old Ho-Ho-Cam. And then the Ho-Ho-Cam's paid to build Toilet Flapper Field that the Cubs play at. The Cubs Marquee did a very Cubs thing. One of the broadcasts, they were celebrating the 10th anniversary of Sloan Park. And they kept talking about all great moments in Sloan Park history. And I was like, wait, what year did it open? The park opened 11 years ago. They were celebrating the naming rights of the park from year 2. It's like, you guys are the worst. Kissing up to the sponsor. It's the 10th anniversary of when you named this place. Like, fuck off.
They couldn't have. Do you remember what they did 2 years ago? Did they act like that was the 10th anniversary too?
Well, last year would have been, right? Last year would have been the real 10th anniversary. I don't know.
I don't know. This conversations like this is like, have we batted around yet? Well, no. When it's 10,
right.
You batted around, not 9.
Right.
So,
well, if Matt Shaw gets left behind, kind of like in Home Alone, I just picture that the plane will take off and they'll be like halfway. They'll be just leaving like U.S. airspace, and somebody be like, "Has anybody seen Matt Shaw?" And he's like, he's looking in front of a mirror, slapping himself in the face. Back
Kevin,
in this.
hurry.
If he doesn't go, they're taking Kevin Alcantara, the Jaguar, so that
Is
he
that his
cannot
nickname?
He gave himself that nickname.
Oh, well, I like that. You're not supposed to do that, but I like that he did that.
First game in the big leagues last year, he played and he went to the outfield, and his glove has spots on it all over. Not measles, RFK Jr. It has like what you would think of immediately. Well, you think of leopards when you see spots, but jaguars also have spots.
True.
And so he had a jaguar spotted glove. I think he's going to be good. I just don't think they really need to take 5 outfielders with him but you never know. It'll be fine. Justin Turner's going to. Yeah. Justin Turner's going to play third base then instead. Just hope nobody hits the ball anywhere near him for 2 games. That could happen.
They're going to bunt too. It's Japan. They like to bunt. I sounded very stereotypical there. I didn't mean to.
Sorry, they got to play the style of the. Well, we're in Japan, guys. We're gonna have to bunt more. What? And bow. Wasn't it? Was it? I believe I remember this trivia question from when I was a kid. I believe it was Toby Hara who once played an entire doubleheader at third base and never had a chance.
That sounds right. That sounds
right.
like a true thing. Yes.
Yeah. Just basically stood there for 6 hours. Nobody ever hit the ball anywhere near him.
He's like, just muttering to himself. Oh, Hera is the same word backward as forward. What?
You can't say era without Hera. What? No, it doesn't make any sense. Well, while we're in the Cub portion of this, which you don't know, but that's what this is. I made the mistake the other day. Actually, I was dropping my wife off at following her to the mechanic. She needed new struts on her car. And I, for some reason, decided I'm just going to listen to the score for a few minutes. And Ron Coomer was on with Mike Mulligan and David Hook on their little morning show. And things got off to a really bad start, I thought, when apparently a big shock to Mully that they were going to talk about the Cubs that morning because he clearly hadn't thought of anything. And he's like, why don't they, how come Pete Crow Armstrong doesn't lead off? He's really fast. And you can even hear Coomer, who's like the nicest guy in the world, kind of go, oh, God. Well, he's like, he might lead off someday, Mike. That's their hope. But, right now he doesn't get on base. And so it's kind of important for the leadoff guy to actually get on. Right. So once he proves he can get on, then maybe they would do that, but they can't do that. Oh, and Mulligan's like, you would have thought it was like, he was talking to Marie Curie and she just, the scientific discovery. Oh my God, that's amazing. And I thought, oh, that was bad. But it got worse when his next question was, do you think Justin Turner is going to make the team
better or what? Going to make the team better. Yes.
It's like, did you really that's not how this works, Mike. He's not trying out. They didn't give him $6 million guaranteed to try out for the team. He's on the team, you dumb shit. Did you know how any of this works?
This really happened. You're not exaggerating.
This actually happened. Yes. After the PCA thing, which I was like, oh, that's such a stupid morning show thing. Like, why don't we lead the fast guy? We'll talk about this. Will kill 5 minutes. But then he literally asked if he's done enough to make the team. And Ron's like, I think he's probably going to make the team.
The PCA question is like good uninformed. The Justin Turner question is bad uninformed.
Yeah, the PCA one would have been like cutting edge sports talk radio in the 80s.
Right.
The Turner one never would have made any sense. So anyway, when they announced the roster later today and Justin has made it, we can. Whew, he must have just barely got on that roster. I'm like,
yeah.
He did it. Cubs are going to play 2 Japanese teams over there. They're playing Yomiuri, the Giants. They'll just pretend it's the San Francisco Giants. And then I forget the other because I didn't look it up because this is a quality podcast.
It's not Bauer's
both of those games are going to be on Marquee, and they're apparently both going to be live. I originally read that they were going to be, they put them on during, like, why do you need to do a 5 a.m. exhibition game? You could just air it at a time we watch it. They'll just re-air it. But one of them, the first one is on at 10 o'clock at night because it's a day game over there.
Oh.
So that's very exciting. I do think it's cool they're going to show them playing the Japanese teams. I like that idea.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the big decisions for the Cubs, they decided not to put Nico Horner on the injured list. They could have done that and basically backdated enough so he still could have played in the North American opener against the Diamondbacks on real opening day. And I don't get their reasoning. I guess it's so he can play. They're going to play Cactus League games when they get back. That has to be the reason they're doing it, to get him in real Cactus League games.
Yeah.
Because he's going to play in minor league games, probably with Matt Shaw if Matt doesn't go. And you can be on the injured list and play in those. So I don't get it. The Shaw thing, one of the things against it, not in his favor, is he is not yet on the 40-man roster. Doesn't have to be. So they literally don't have to do anything with him. Like, they're just not taking him. So I think that's probably going to happen. But too bad. I was hoping to see.
The Cubs are one of these teams that does like to put off putting the guy on the injured list sometimes until it's not practical anymore. It's I think I've just heard you complain about this before. Maybe that's
No, they do it
not
all the time.
Other
You'll see a guy get hurt. They'll say, "Oh, he's fine day to day." He won't play for a week. They'll play shorthanded for a week, and then they'll put him on and backdate it, and he'll be on the injured list for 3 days and then come back. Last year, when Nico broke his hand, he sat for a couple of days. Then I think he pinch ran, and then he sat for a few more days, and then they put him on the injured list. So they couldn't backdate it all the way because they used him. It's like, I know these injured list rules are new. They've only been around for about 60 years. Maybe eventually you will, become accustomed to how they actually work. But yeah, they're not real good at it. That was why I was concerned on last Sunday, I think. It's been 2 weeks now. Pete Crow got held out of a game with a precautionary reasons for a hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
Not on a normal team, you'd be like, that's spring training. If the guy has a twinge in his hamstring, why would you play him? But with the Cubs, when they tell you they're holding somebody out for precautionary reasons, it normally means that his leg needs to be amputated. And they haven't made him decide what to do about the roster yet. But anyway, they're going to get on a plane on Tuesday night and head to Japan, and then think of the poor people at Sloan Park with nothing to watch. They're the real victims in all this. Tom Rick is still complaining about all the revenue they're going to lose because these 2 games in LA are both Cub home games. It's not one Dodger home game, not one Cub home game. It's 2 Cub home games. So then they will then play a 2-game series at Dodger Stadium and a 2-game series at Wrigley. So they get the Dodgers 6 times because of this instead of sometimes you can get by with. Is that right? Or is it 3 and 2? I think it's 3 and 2. I think they plan to play them 7 times. The most you can. Well, that'll be fine. Speaking of the Dodgers. Speaking of the Dodgers, Dave Roberts has his contract extension. And I knew exactly when I saw the amount why it was the amount. It's 4 years, $32.4 million. That gives him an average annual value of $8.1 million, $100,000 more per year than Craig Counsell. So he's the highest paid manager in baseball. Like I wrote in the newsletter, the joke's on Dave. Craig got 5 years, and Craig doesn't have to work in October. Ba-dum-bump. John Heyman, in announcing the news on Twitter on Monday, as it was during one of the few moments it was working, said a new contract for arguably the best manager in baseball. Do we think Dave Roberts is the best manager in baseball?
I don't think a lot of people have said that.
Well, John Heyman did.
Right. Well, he's not a lot of people. He's a one people. But, and it's some of the stories that were written about, hey, he's got this contract and Heyman might have even written one where it's like, oh, last year is he going to keep his job or not? Because there's some, if they don't go all the way. I mean, that just happened too. So that's not a new phenomenon. People were, I don't know that the Dodgers actually were close to firing Dave Roberts, but it wouldn't have been the biggest surprise in the world had they not won the World Series and gotten a new manager. So I think,
I wonder,
to answer he's probably really good with the players and managing the personalities and that kind of thing. I follow some Dodgers fans and blogs and so forth, and they kind of scratch their head or whatever at lots of moves that he makes. So, but that isn't necessarily that different than a lot of other managers. So,
right. I don't think
he
Dave
the best
Roberts
manager, probably not. But is he up there? Is he good enough? Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think Dave Roberts is a bad manager by any. I just think that it's a double-edged sword for him, right? That team is loaded. he's going to win a lot, and he has. He's won a lot of regular season games. But then that team also tends to run out of pitching right before the playoffs start. And that will make any manager look like an idiot. If you can't go, if you can't pitch, it's tough to look like a genius manager. But then you also get into the,
and I'm not 100% sure. Like, are we blaming him for that? You know, I don't know if you can blame anybody, but or are we blaming the front office for the pitchers that they brought in and their style, and which I'm sure is an organizational style of how they get them ready, and it's not Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts was an outfielder or a second baseman, I don't remember, but speedy outfielder, I think. He's not a pitching guru, so that's probably not on him either. Is it Mark Pryor's fault? So, I don't think so.
Well, Mark Pryor, he's an expert in being an injured pitcher. Maybe he's teaching the guys too well.
Waving the white.
Hey, you want to know how you can really screw up your shoulder? Here, do this. I did. No, more. There you go. Now it's ruined. Congratulations.
Did I hear Dusty?
Let's see. Yep, Dave only played outfield. Was he left-handed? Yeah. He was. So not a lot of second base.
All right. You know what I'm doing?
I thought the same thing.
Conflating Bip Roberts, who played some second base too. That's what
Leon
Ozzie Guillen did in his my favorite Ozzie Guillen rant. He got Dave Roberts confused with Bip Roberts.
So. I think it's funny though. I don't ever remember seeing him play in the field ever.
Yeah, you just see him stealing second in Fenway Park.
Right. You know, I thought all he ever did was pinch run once for the Red Sox. That was his entire career. Played 832
he was really
games.
Herb Washington 3000. He really was.
Yeah. If you had given Ned Yost this era of Dodgers, how many World Series would they have won? Because Dave technically was won 2 because the COVID one counts.
It does. Well, I mean, he would have been let go about 10 days before the end of the season. So I don't know. Like the Brewers, you know, he didn't last for that. So the Dodgers also would have fired him before the regular season ended. So, none. No, but he got to the World Series twice with the Royals. So
yeah,
he was.
Well, I was thinking Ned, because Ned is like the guy that you think of as the push button. This era's push button manager, right? Like the pitching decisions at the end of the games were obvious and effective for the Royals. Yeah. All he had to do was remember the order to use the 3 guys. Which one? Dale, which one are we supposed to use now? I don't know. Oh, shit. We need to write this down. Well, we need to learn how to write. All right, good. That's what we do. Next off season, you and I are going to learn how to read and write. And then I'll make this all a lot easier. I'll get some tapes. We'll listen to them up in the blind, and I'll try not to fall out of it. Did you know Dave Roberts managed the Padres?
Yeah, it's kind of the Rick Renneria portion of his career.
Well, it was 1 game.
Oh,
yeah, he's 0-1 though. Winless Padres. That's how I refer to him now for the rest of his career. Winless Padres manager, Dave Roberts. 2015, he was interim for a day, queen for a day. In between, how about this? Bud Black and Pat Murphy.
Oh, wow.
And I could tell you I did not remember that Pat Murphy had managed the Padres.
Yeah, I mean, barely. I don't remember anything about it other than it happened.
He went 42 and 54. And then he was gone. Who knew? I don't know why, but The Athletic was catching up with Mo Vaughn over the weekend.
Yes.
And he admitted, this was earth-shattering. Mo admitted that he used HGH with the Mets. And it's like, yeah, we know. We all read about it. In what, to me, will always be the funniest part of the Mitchell report. Mo was with the Mets when Kurt Radomski was there. He started off as like a clubhouse bat boy. He started off as a bat boy, worked his way up to a clubhouse attendant, and he could get PEDs for players. And Mo had a bad ankle and decided, I'm going to need some of that magic stuff. So he asked Kurt. Kurt got him some HGH. Kurt complained to the Mitchell investigators that Mo complained to him that it didn't work. And Kurt said the reason it didn't work is Mo would take them and then not work out. Which is my favorite.
His idea of steroids is what everyone else's is.
Yep, right. It's like the stuff I have for my little eczema. You just rub it on. I don't have to go like lift weights to make the eczema patch go away. Like Mo is like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go sit in the hot tub and let this stuff work. Like, no, Mo. It doesn't automatically. It's growth hormone, but it will help you increase your muscle mass as you exercise. It's not, you can't just sit there and go, now I'm buff. But Mo Vaughn, people were like, Mets fans were like mad at Mo when he showed up in the Mets report. I had newfound respect for Mo. He's like, I'm paying for this shit. It should just work. Why do I have to do anything? You should get me some stuff that just, like, what is that? What's the Incredible Hulk take? He's not working out, and he's huge. See, at the end of Mo Vaughn at bats, he's back to normal size, and it's just him and a frayed jock because the rest of his uniform got ripped off when he got huge. That's the end of the Mets score 3 in the inning, and as soon as Mo puts some clothes on, we'll be back for the top of the 4th.
I didn't have frayed jock on my bingo card today.
Well, there was
what I kind of liked about. I didn't actually read the stories. I read the headlines. Sometimes that's what I do.
Yep.
Sorry. And I thought it was. I envisioned it like Ken Rosenthal going to Mo. He's like, Mo, we got this story. I know it's 25 years old or whatever. We're going to talk about your confirming that you bought steroids. But here's the good news. I also want to do a sidebar on how your 12-year-old son helped you regain your love for baseball, lost for all these years. What do you say? So it was a nice, I don't know if that was a quid pro quo or just a whatever from Kenny, but I thought that was kind of funny.
Well, when Sammy was coach for a week for the Cubs, he sat down with Bob Nightingale, and Bob got the blockbuster that Sammy still is only vaguely admitting he ever did anything. It's like, Bob, I don't think that's really news. He's been doing that forever, and nobody gives a shit anymore. So, but good job. Keep asking. But here's the thing that I'm worried about. This isn't just a baseball issue. I'm just worried about this. So, I don't know if you knew this last week. Art Shalek, he was a left-handed pitcher for the Yankees. He died at 100 years old.
Yeah,
he was the oldest living former major leaguer, and this keeps happening. Where the oldest living major leaguer keeps dying.
What's Manfred gonna do about it?
Shouldn't there be some kind of investigation into this? Why can't we keep these 100-year-olds alive? It's almost like as soon as they get the mantle, within a few months, poof, dead. And then somebody else. There's always another one ready to be the oldest living player. I don't like it. I get uncomfortable.
Yeah, my faux reaction to all those stories. This was the oldest living person died. No, he's not. He's not the oldest living person. He's dead. Well, he was. Well, then say that.
Do you think Joe DiMaggio had like a thing in his rider that he had to be introduced as the oldest living player even when he wasn't?
I got an idea. I'm going to live forever. This is how I'm going to do it.
Now, Joe, wait a minute. You wanted to be? I thought we had to introduce you as the greatest living baseball player. Yeah, both. But you're not the oldest. I don't care. I'm taking back the fucking coffee pot. If you don't do it, the free coffee pot right back in the trunk. Don't mess with Mr. Coffee. He will repossess it. Yadi Molina was in the news in two places, St. Louis and Chicago. Nobody else cared. Katie Woo interviewed him, and I wish she'd say her name like that. It would be the greatest. The only word she sings in her life. Reporting live from Cardinal Camp, it's Katie Woo for The Athletic. She interviewed Yadi, and they talked about all kinds of stuff. And she said, "Do you aspire to be a major league manager?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do it." He said, "Yeah, but it's really tough. I mean, I've got all these kids, and they're doing, like, his oldest son now is like a hotshot catching prospect, and he's got a lot of stuff, and he's owns that basketball team in Puerto Rico. That's he had to go leave as an active player. Had to take off for a few days to go to Puerto Rico to watch them play in the playoffs one year.
Yeah, sure, Yadi, whatever."
But the bombshell, I thought, in the article was that Yadi doesn't live in Puerto Rico anymore. And I didn't tell you when we were talking about this because I wanted you to guess. Where do you think Yadi Molina lives? I'll give you 5 guesses. You're not going to get it. Nope.
That was my best guess.
All right. He lives in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
That just seemed like the most... he's entitled to live wherever he wants. But to me, it was like, why Austin, Texas? Why is that the place that appealed to Yadi?
With McConaughey?
Yeah, that was the old...
Maybe?
Yeah, that was the old joke, right? The worst thing about Austin is that it's surrounded by Texas. But yeah, he's there, but he's still too busy. But he did say he wants to manage, and it doesn't have to be the Cardinals. He said, "I will manage anywhere. I would even manage the Cubs." Like, fine. We don't want you. We had one of your brothers. I don't remember which one. He played like 4 games for the Cubs. That was enough. That was our brief flirtation with the Molinas. We don't need another one. Annoyingly, I do think Yadi seems like a guy who probably would be a good manager. I just get a hunch that I think he'd probably be good at it. The guy who seems to really want to do it is his buddy Albert Pujols. So you think if you're Oliver Marmol, you're kind of looking around like, shit, they're coming from all sides. Skip Shoemaker wants my job. Yadi wants my job. Albert wants my job.
Well, it was a surprise. Schumacher went to the Rangers and is hanging around, sniffing around Bruce Bochy, waiting to see if he stays around. But the Cardinals, as we know, do have a general manager in waiting who presumably would want his own guy. Maybe that's actually good that he's going to be around from Marmol's standpoint, that Chaim Bloom was going to be there and they're going to work together or whatever. So he won't be a stranger to him when the time comes for him to take over. I don't know what the Cardinals are doing. I know I say that like every time we record.
Nobody knows what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing.
They don't.
Last year, for no apparent reason, they gave Oliver Marmol an extension.
Yeah.
And to me, that was, here's a little extra money.
Right.
We're firing you relatively soon. So here's a little extra cash for when you're out of a job. Yes. Yeah. Skip took the Will Venable job when Will decided he wanted to manage what league are the Sox in? The one with the Long Island Ducks.
Jobs, Andy.
Yeah, I think there's 20. Right, given the state of the White Sox right now, there's 29. I wouldn't touch that. You want to be the next guy. You don't want to be this guy. You want to be the next one. I'm surprised they didn't bring back Rick Renteria. Ricky, you want to manage this one or crap, and then we'll fire you, and we'll get a good manager after that. Okay, fine, great.
We'll see how many shares Ishbia has gobbled up of the White Sox, and if that gets Jerry excited and ready to move on. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work.
And another story in the Athletic. I just use the Athletic to program the podcast. Another story in the Athletic. Patrick Mooney and Ken Rosenthal. We're writing about the state of pitching right now, and it's spring training. Always a raft of injuries arrive with the players. The Yankees are without Luis Gil, and now Garrett Cole's going to have he caught Tommy John disease, so he's got to deal with that. And they were saying among the pitchers who teams are keeping tabs on, and they included the Cubs as a team keeping tabs on these guys. How do these two guys get you excited? You interested in Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn?
Oh. Cardinal cast-offs.
Yeah. Both are 37. Now, Lance says he lost 20 pounds. So he's ready to roll. He's just 40 more away from his target weight.
He's not ready to roll down the hill. He's just ready to roll.
And he was, earlier, his agent was telling teams he'd be interested in, if you want to make a closer out of it, he'd give that a shot.
I remember that.
Like Lance decided, doesn't want to pitch 5 innings. It's way too long. Can I just pitch 1? I'll do it more often. Lance, no.
I'm sure his preparation routine would be different. But as I recall, his first inning ERA is pretty bad. So I don't know if that would be, I mean, that's, thinking that you're going to go in and start and pitch 5 innings, 6 innings. Yeah. So it's different when you're going in for the last inning. So maybe that's not relevant, but it isn't good in the first inning. So there's that. He is still throwing hard. I looked up his StatCast numbers for some reason just to see like how cooked is he. And he's still got a fastball. So that might work.
He only pitched 4 games in the second half last year because he bum knee. He was really good on the road. He was terrible at Busch Stadium 3, whatever one they're on now. And Kyle Gibson was not good. Neither one of them was very good, but he wasn't as bad as I thought. But there's a reason that it's March 11th and they don't have jobs in a sport where no one has enough pitching. But the Cubs are all of a sudden don't have the depth they thought they had. But nobody ever does. When you have a couple of injuries, that's why you're supposed to plan ahead. The Yankees, they still have Marcus Stroman. He was going to be their 6th starter. He'll be, at the rate things are going, he'll be their opening day starter now.
Right.
And that's why he didn't want to. He refused to move to the bullpen. And he is, if nothing else, a smart guy. And he probably figured, I'll end up in the rotation anyway. Why do I have to go through the crap of trying to learn how to pitch out of the bullpen? There's no way that everybody stays healthy. So I'm just not going to do it. And he didn't do it. And it worked.
Watch the world's biggest tennis stars clash in the California desert at the BNP Paribas Open, live on Tennis Channel.
How do they get to these shots?
Tune in daily for exclusive first ball to last coverage from Indian Wells and witness all of the jaw-dropping action as the game's top men and women square off at one of the greatest events in sports. It's tennis magic you need to see to believe. The BNP Paribas Open, live on Tennis Channel and streaming on the Tennis Channel app.
Life is made up of many gorgeous moments. Cherish them all, big and small, with Blue Nile. Whether it's for yourself or a loved one, Blue Nile's unrivaled selection of expertly crafted fine jewelry and statement pieces help make all your moments sparkle. Blue Nile's experts are on hand to guide you, and their diamond guarantee ensures you get the highest quality at the best price. Celebrate a life well lived in the most radiant way and save up to 30% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
So I don't know why baseball does this, but I think somebody who designs hats for them must just like, oh, wait till they see this one. If you thought last year's caused an uproar, how about this? Why don't we just take the name of the team and then we'll take the letter from their main logo and we'll just stick it right in the middle and it'll look great. And when we were like in college, right? I mean, how many kids did you know that had those? There was a certain style of college hat. It was just a white hat. It had like a stripe at the top and a stripe under, and then a big, like the team name in block letters. They all look the same. And yeah. How many guys did you know had a South Carolina one just because it said Cox right on it? I can still picture it. Close my eyes, I can picture it. Well, those same guys now, 30 years later, will be walking around with the Tatas hats from the Rangers. If you put the T over the X in Texas, you get Spanish, right? Not Mexican, it's Spanish boobies.
Yes.
Spanish boobies. Mexican's not a language, Spanish is.
Although people in Spain probably think Mexican is a language. They look
Yeah, they
down
do,
on
because they do not, it's not the same language. Well, I mean, British English and American English is not really the same language either.
There's also different, not to get too stuck on this, but there's, even in Spain, there's 2 or 3 different kinds of Spanish. I mean, they're very similar, but there's like the Castilian Spanish where there's, lots of th sounds and stuff. And there's other people that don't talk like that. So that's all I remember from Spanish class. But yeah, there's different dialects. I mean, not unlike the United States.
The only thing I remember, I took 4 semesters of Spanish in college. And the only thing I remember is that C is not just a letter, it's a word.
Yes. Yes. And that's the word.
And everybody remembers the Spanish word for library because it's cool. Biblioteca. I just like to say it. So you learn how to order beer, how to ask to go to the bathroom, and ask for where the library is. As if when you go to vacation, to Cozumel or somewhere, the first thing you're going to do is want to know where the library is. Maybe a rainy day. You want to know where the library is.
Also, Muebleria is a furniture store. So,
yeah.
In case you need to buy a lounger or something.
Do you deliver? Or where do you live? Do you know where Chicago is? Why are you buying furniture here, sir? You have lazy boy stores there. You don't need to come to the one here. Another fun with fonts, I guess. NBC Sports Network, which it still exists in a few places, has changed their score bug for the season. And what we've lost is a tragedy. If you want to picture their score bug, they would have the visiting team's logo, then the score of the home team, and then the home team's logo.
Right.
And it really didn't mean much except when the Phillies played the Pirates, and until somebody scored, the upper left-hand corner of your TV said poop. It doesn't anymore. They got rid of that. They just use team abbreviations. And so we're not going to get it. Just saddened me.
That's the best part, though. I mean, that's the kind of the baseball season. It takes forever. Games, they're not 3 hours anymore. They don't tend to be, but games can drag. It's nice to see poop up in the corner of your TV sometimes.
It is. It would be kind of disappointing when one of them would score and ruin it.
Right.
It's like, oh. The West Sacramento Athletics are not supposed to be referred to as the Sacramento Athletics. They're just the Athletics. And so you're supposed to use ATH for their abbreviation, not SAC. Yeah. But why would, I guess if you're an MLB broadcast partner, they actually have some sway over you and they can basically make you do it. But I mean, if you were a newspaper and you put the standings in, do they still do that? They still put the standings in the paper? If they still did.
Love newspapers. Yeah, well, that's up to the paper, but they'll fight like the Angels used to. You know how the Angels would change their name every year? The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim and the California Angels, Anaheim Angels, and I don't think anybody really did the whole Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim thing like they wanted. So it's up to whoever's publishing the thing. So, but yeah, they'll complain about it for sure.
So I looked on Baseball Reference. If you flip through the years, if you go to the 2024 stats, it says 2024 Oakland Athletics Statistics. And you click on to 2025, and it says 2025 Athletics Statistics.
Right.
No Sacramento. I feel bad for the Sacramento erasure. But oh well.
It's a weird situation. They're putting I haven't seen it, but they're putting a Las Vegas themed patch on the jersey.
Yes, they are.
So I don't know if that's just sort of like the Theodore Herzl, if you will it is no dream kind of thing. Or I still am not 100% sure that they're going to Las Vegas, but this, I mean, just say it enough times and it'll be true, I guess.
I mean, I won't believe it. Even when they start, I won't believe it until I see a shovel in the ground in Vegas.
Right.
I need to see like the roof go on that place before I actually believe that they're ever going to play there. Yeah, when they put that patch up, people were posting it, and I wrote, well, that's as close as they're ever going to get to Vegas. And that weekend, they literally, like at the moment I wrote that, they were playing an exhibition game in Las Vegas.
So, well...
like, okay, well, the Cubs used to do that all the time, too. They didn't move there yet.
Yeah, I've seen the latest artist rendering of the stadium that they're proposing, and it looks like the courthouse on Krypton in Superman. A big, like, half-shell kind of a thing with Jor-El and General Zod and those guys. So
when they had the first renderings, they were like, the architects were available to be interviewed, and somebody's like, well, so are you? Obviously, this design heavily influenced by the Sydney Opera House. And the one lead architect, she was like, what? like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure, did you actually go to architecture school? Because I'm pretty sure that probably would have come up at some point. It's like one of the most iconic structures in the world. I'm like, oh. It'd be like, boy, this looks a lot like the Louvre. What is that? Okay.
You mean the bathroom? How they say in England? What?
There was a report that the Rob Manfred is now trying to pressure Stu Sternberg into selling the Rays to an ownership group that will either keep them in Tampa or at the worst move them to Orlando. They want to stay. They want that kind of Central Florida kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just thought, honest to God, if you're going to make Stu Sternberg sell his team, but you didn't make John Fisher sell the A's, if I'm Stu, I just laugh at it.
It's the first thing I thought of.
And like, wait a minute, I'm the bad owner? The guy who we put the teams on the field that actually win games?
Right.
Sure. We're a lot worse than John Fisher. Did I summon the hurricane that ripped the roof off of the Trop, which has now endangered the stadium thing we had already gotten agreed to in Tampa? But it's all about protecting their... Rob doesn't want... If Rob's worried that they're going to move to like Nashville.
Yeah.
And then that takes away one of his... He likes to have those cities on the hook. They're the leverage to get stadium deals for other teams. Oh, they might move to Nashville someday, or Charlotte, or Portland, and you can't take any of those off the hook. I did like that the rumored name for who the MLB might try to set up a sale of the Rays to. It was Eddie DeBartolo.
Oh man, still alive, huh? Wow.
It's like that's my first thought. Is Eddie still around? But number two, the guy. NFL owners won't let anybody sell a team to Eddie, but baseball's fine with it. Like, no problem.
Well, I'm sure you probably remember he was going to buy the White Sox, and they said no, we don't want you because he's Italian and maybe he knows some monsters.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly why. It's like these. Well, apparently billionaires never die, so.
Good point.
The names never disappear. But yeah, I thought immediately. I hadn't even read the story yet. I saw the headline. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me! John Fisher has basically ruined baseball on the West Coast, and you didn't make him sell.
They didn't. Yeah, they let them go to Las Vegas. I don't know.
He killed three different. What? Yeah, right. It's almost like, well, we already let John do that.
That's it. No one else.
Right. Stu, you don't get to do this. Fisher basically put the kibosh on 3 different stadium deals that they had at different times. Like, okay, what do we do this? We can redo. You know what? We'll rebuild the Coliseum. Nope, don't want to do that. Okay, fine.
Right.
How about Howard Terminal? Yeah, that's a really good thing. We don't want to do that because we'd have put in too much money. And in every and then the other. I always liked Howard. He's very funny.
Yeah.
And then I forget I remember the other stadium, but I know there were 3 different ones that he killed, and they were all because he had to kick in too much of his own money. And now this thing in Vegas, he has to kick in far more money than he ever had to kick in Oakland. It's like, gee, you really are a great businessman. Anyway, it's going to be very interesting to have the Rays and the A's playing in minor league ballparks this year. The Rays one, because it's the Yankees spring training home and Class A affiliate, the dimensions are very similar to Yankee Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Which should be very good if you're a left-handed power hitter visiting that park.
Right.
But also, if you're a rain delay enthusiast, you are really going to enjoy Rays baseball this year.
How about a heat stroke delay?
Yeah. Well, yeah, heat stroke. You might want to go to Sacramento for that. You can go to Sacramento for the heat stroke because it's inland and it gets super freaking hot. It's the main reason they made them change the turf to grass, is so the players wouldn't melt on the field like they used to in Busch Stadium. I forget what Cub it was, but one of the Cubs was playing in Busch on a 140-degree day, and he had plastic spikes, and they literally melted while he was during one half inning out there. He had to come and change shoes because his spikes had melted. It's like, should we be playing on this? This doesn't seem right.
Marvin Miller, are you still alive?
And I just think it's great that the A's are sharing their stadium with the Giants AAA team. Things are going
funny. The Giants, for years, the A's would want to move to San Jose or whatever, and the Giants would block it. And now they're like, yeah, sure, you can share our AAA team. So they're being magnanimous all of a sudden.
You can rent our AAA ballpark from us.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to let you do that. Well, the first baseball originally wanted to set up at least a big chunk of the schedule where the A's would play at whatever it is now, Oracle Park.
Yeah.
And the Giants said, nah, no, we don't want that either. Yeah, this A's stadium thing went over 20 years ago. If the Giants had let them move to San Jose, they would have built a stadium there and they would be there. And the Giants are like, well, no, that's someone arbitrarily drew up what our market was, and that's in it. So you can't have it. And it started the mess that has ended with them just leaving town. But the Giants learned their lesson. They now have the fourth largest media market in the country all to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure they feel very chastised by, oh no, the A's left town. That's terrible. We feel so guilty. We now have
Buster Posey is the most powerful man in the world.
We now have twice as many potential fans as we did yesterday. Oh well. Well, we're a week away now from real games, at least 2 of them. And then we go back to fake games again, but then baseball's actually coming. I'm reminded at this time of the year that in 1995, after the 94 lockout got settled and teams reported to spring training late, that they only had a month for spring training.
Mm-hmm.
And brand new manager Jim Riggleman of the Cubs said, this is perfect. A month is exactly how long you need for spring training. We can get everybody in shape, we can get games in, and then we're ready to go. And did baseball look at that and go, hey, that's a great idea? No. Immediately, they've gone the other way. And if you want to know why there are so many spring training games, there's one simple reason for it, especially in Arizona. But they do it a little bit in Florida, too. Every one of those stadiums, spring training stadiums, was strong-armed for the municipality to pay for it. And the way the municipality tries to earn back some of the money is on those spring training games. Mm-hmm. So there is no way they will ever cut the number of spring training games there are, because that's how they get their cash.
Split squads. Let's split them up some more. Quad squads.
Oh, we talked 2 weeks ago about how the Cubs don't have StatCast, or they didn't have the automated balls of strike thing, because Sloan Park doesn't have either. And the reason they don't is because there's no minor league team that plays in that park, so they just didn't outfit it. One of my readers,
crazy that there isn't, because
one of my readers forwarded across to me that the city of Mesa is going to pay for stadium upgrades at Sloan Park, which will include the StatCast cameras.
Oh,
yeah. You would have thought maybe the Cubs could have paid for that themselves, but no.
Probably.
Why would you? Why would you want to? We'll just wait around until the city finally get them to do it.
Ballpark is very regular season MLB like to me. It's very, I don't know. They could have a team, but
Oleg and Prasner were talking. Because Oleg had just been there for the first time, and Nico Horner claims Sloan Park is one of his favorite parks to play in. Not spring training parks, like parks.
Right.
Like, to him, it's like it basically is another Major League Baseball stadium, and he loves it. I mean, it's great, but it's also, the Cubs, same thing. The Cubs own that, or have that by themselves, so it's only used there's games in it half the days, not all the days.
Right.
They got a pretty sweet deal. They just threatened to move to Naples. I think Florida, but maybe Italy. I don't know. And immediately the city of Mesa was like, fine, we'll give you whatever you want. And that's what they got. So. All right.
Okay.
Well, next time we talk, next time you and I talk, just as the two of us, there will be games to talk about. But the next time you're on here to talk about baseball, we'll be with the aforementioned Oleg and Praz in our half-assed baseball preview. So that'll be fun.
Well, I'm going to try and bring my whole ass.
Good. So. Good. At least somebody will. All right. Well, we'll see you then.
Many of us have herpes.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. I mean, got to congratulate the Dolan family.
Sean, my podcast co-host Andy, you were his favorite player growing up.
Oh, thank you so much. Awesome.